Welcome back to the Malloy Twins podcast. And before we get into today's episode, we want to just take a couple of minutes. Usually we'd give shout out to sponsors, but this season we want to use our podcast as a platform to raise awareness and shine a light on organisations who are doing amazing work and deserve more respect for what they do. So on today's episode, we want to give a shout out to the Nina for Life Foundation.
Nina for Life Suicide Awareness is a group that's based in Kingswood in Tallaght and is near and dear to our hearts. We had Jane and Pat from Nina on the podcast back in season 1 where they spoke about the group and the work that they do in raising awareness for suicide and mental health. But like with all organisations, they need support and funding wherever they can get it. We're going to link everything below for Nina in terms of their Instagram and their Facebook page so you can see the work that they do. And if you feel compelled to do so, there's also going to be a link to a GoFundMe where you can donate to the cause and help them to keep on doing the great work that they do.
Welcome back to the Malloy Twins podcast. And today we're joined by professional MMA fighter representing SBG Ireland and fighting out Bellator and PFL. Is it both Bellator and PFL, Nathan? Or?
Yeah, we'll say both for now.
We'll say both.
For
we'll
legal
say
reasons.
It's Nathan Kelly, the pride in the north side. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, yeah. Thanks for having me on. I love chatting to you lads. You're very passionate about what you do, so it's a pleasure to be on and helping grow the brand as well as getting some exposure myself.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. And firstly, I just want to say, man, watching your last few performances has been incredible to see what you've been putting together. And before the podcast, we always do a bit of deep dive and trying to figure out a bit about you. So I'm really interested to figure out more about what's brought you to this point, because I know it's been a bit of an up and down journey. Before we get into that, we always like to start with quick fires and just some questions to get things going.
Let's go.
So I'll kick it off nice and easy. For you growing up as an aspiring fighter, let's say, as you were getting into that world, who would have been some role models or heroes you looked up to?
In the fighting world?
In the fighting world,
John Jones was a big one. I just loved how he could beat everyone at their own game. That was a big, that was a one for me. Anderson Silva was obviously another one, just a freak of nature. Showing mixed martial arts at the highest level and having a bit of style points and flash knockouts and all that jazz. GSP, he would have been he was the truest form of martial arts in my mind.
Loads of people say GSP. Yeah,
he just had a clean, disciplined, just like everyone else attitude. Do you know what I mean? Even though he was exceptional and he was at the top, he had this real humble, nice guy, fucking not a big deal kind of attitude to him. And I always aspired to be like that myself as someone who's like that. Yeah, I always see him, he's talking about being afraid shitless to go into the cage, and he shows the more human and real side of it. So I always admired that. And then obviously when he started to excel, then Conor was the biggest one then to spur me on. And but I was always a fan of Conor even before he hit to the UFC, you know what I mean? Because I started training well before he got to the UFC. So obviously I followed the regional scene a lot growing up. So he actually fought on one of my coach's shows years ago to fight before Christmas. So I would have been following Conor a lot. So when he started to get that proper mainstream, that's when I think the belief in myself grew. It was just, I remember when he fought Diego Brandao in 3Arena and he knocked him out in the first round. I left that arena going, I can do this. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It was really I can do it. He's doing this. He's changing the game. It was because I already had a belief in myself anyway, and I was like, I can definitely, if he's doing this, he's only half an hour up the road from me.
Yeah.
I can definitely do this as well. So that would have been the biggest kind of sport I got from a role model, we'll say then. You know what I mean?
What age would you have been at that time?
16.
Right, okay.
16 maybe, if even, I'm not sure. I remember having my first amateur fight then when I was 17, so I would have been in the next year and a half after where I would have had my first amateur fight. And I remember it so well that time of training after he won Timmy's first fight, I was just
locked in
every single day, loving going to train and loving the whole process of it, because I think that was in the summer when he fought, so we were all off school, and I was able to train 2-3 times a day every day when I wasn't in school. Do you know what I mean? So I felt was really infatuated with the sport at that time. So
point,
that's a core memory for me. Do you know what I mean?
It's deadly. It's like when you see like Ronaldo scoring a goal
Yeah.
on telly, and you're just going out on the field every day practicing that
That was-
step over
that
the
was-
shot or something.
That's why I just was as a kid or as a person. Like I always was a big dreamer. Like I always like that. I'm an Arsenal fan. Like, and when I played football, Arsenal would win 2 or 3-0, and I'd go out with the ball after, visualising myself being
Van Persie or something.
Van Persie or Fabregas or all these like big players, and scoring goals on the green or kicking it against the wall, visualising fans screaming my name. I was always somewhat a delusional big dreamer, you know what I mean? And like even when I played football, I always felt like I could really make it because I had the attitude and the desire and the will to work. But I just certain circumstances where playing the same position as the coach's son and things like that.
The politics of that
just
shit,
didn't work in my favour. Didn't get confidence then when I was on the pitch. I'd come on off the bench and I was already a bit of a low confidence kind of, like, even though I had all this passion, desire and dreams, I was very low on confidence and insecure with myself and stuff like that as a young kid. So that never worked out, but I always had that borderline delusion. I think that's what, to be successful, you need to have that kind of like, no, I am going to do this, like, and no matter what people tell you, you'll have that like stubbornness, that like that certain mentality that almost is deemed crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, solid answer.
That's some short fire, quick fire question. Went on for about 2 minutes.
A slow one or a quick fire. My one would be, you've had a lot of fights at this point, amateur and professional. Of all the performances you've had to date, which one are you most proud of and why?
A lot of them. I was really proud of myself. It's not like one performance rather than the whole. When I went to the IMAFs, well, there's two. I'll give two. So, well, this is gonna include. I won my first ever amateur title. I was 18 years old, and I fought a lad who was 30 odd years old. You know what I mean? On Battle Zone, which would have been Andy Ryan's MMA promotion back in the day. It was like the biggest MMA promotion in Ireland for like regional shows, amateur and pro. And to win that title was a big deal. And I fought Ian Cleary from SBG Charlestown, and I bet him by decision, and that was the biggest. Like, that was like, I was still in school, like, fighting this kid, or else I was just finished, whatever way it worked. No, I was 18. I was left school, so I was just finished school in the August, and I fought him in the December. You know what I mean? Just on me leaving cert, and I was fighting for and let me first amateur title on the biggest show in Ireland against someone, who was old enough to be my dad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He was just an established fighter, seasoned fighter, and I went out and bet him, which then led into me working my way up, then make me way to the IMAFs to fight for Ireland, and we went over to Vegas as a team, and I got the silver medal for Ireland, and I think that was my biggest one in terms of me amateur career, definitely. And then me pro, I'd say fighting in Madison Square Garden is something I'll never forget, and I was very grateful for that opportunity because not a lot of people get to say they've been there, fought there, especially at this stage of my career. So that's something I'll never forget. But I think headlining an event in the 3Arena to a sold out crowd and getting the win in the first round, all me friends and family ringside, I think that was one of the biggest self-fulfilling to see. Even the fans singing Crazy War back then, like, as I was walking out, the noise of it, even watching it back on the broadcast, you can hear the noise of the fans and how the commentators even like, Jesus, the noise it is, like, do you know what I mean? It was, and even everyone after was like, all the PFL crowd were like, they love you, do you know what I mean? I was like, so it was kind of, it was very satisfying to me, but that would have, I always say, like, if I was to get injured and never fight again, that night in Dublin would have been enough for me to go, do you know what, I did all right.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, if I was to break my ankle or whatever, I was never be able to fight again. The fact that I got the headline show in Dublin in front of a sold out crowd, winning the first round, send everyone home with a smile on their face, that was a brilliant achievement for me to have achieved at such a, like, still an early stage of my career, you know what I mean? So, but like, obviously I'm nowhere near done, but that was just, in hindsight, I always said that was that would be something I'll never forget. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man, that's massive. And in those moments, let's say 3Arena, you're backstage waiting to come out. Do you have any pre-fight routines you like to go through to get calm, get centered, or get ready to go?
And no, not necessarily. I just same as anything. I just get there, shake yourself out, get changed, warm up, go out and fight. There's not really there's no superstitions, or there's no, like, I follow the same stretching routine, I follow the same warm up routine as I always do, but that's what I do every day anyway. I have a certain way that I get my body loose. Like, you might have a certain way you get your body loose, you might have a certain way you get your body loose. Like, everyone has their own little stretching routine or warm up routine or whatever it is. Like, but once I do that, then I just do a bit of warming up, do a bit of pad work, do a bit of grappling. Or like calm down then, just focus on the breathing. Just you just want to get your first breath, get your sweat, and you know, everything from there then is going to take care of itself in the cage. So I wouldn't have anything specific that I do now. Just warm up as usual and get ready to have a fight.
Get ready for a scrap.
Yeah.
This might be a weird question, so I don't know if I'll phrase it properly, but do you find for you personally to get ready for a fight, do you need to raise your energy to be ready to go, or do you almost need to like calm yourself down before getting ready? Because I think people kind of are nearly one or the other. Like, I know for me, I'd probably nearly need to try to get my energy up a little bit to be ready to go, versus other people are like just really hyper and almost need to like calm themselves before they go.
Depending on how I feel in the day, it could be one or the other. Like, I've had fights where I need to like bang on my chest, and I have fights where I need to like, right, breathe, do you know what I mean? But I think I'm getting to the stage now where I'm just in between it. I feel like I have that happy medium now, like, whereas, like, don't get me wrong, when I'm walking out, I'm like, right, fucking let's go, come on, because I'm about to get into a fight, and it's not like, right, come on, let's go, it's more so like, right, come on, do not let this fella win any minute. It's more like let's switch on, let's not let this fella win any second of the round, do you know what I mean? Like, win, my thing is win every second, every minute of the round over the three rounds, do you know what I mean? So that's why I kind of hype myself up. But then I also like to keep myself calm, because I feel like a calmer mind will always make better decisions. So if I'm too hyped up, you know, I might overshoot on things, or I might get over aggressive, or I might be so hyped up that I don't pull the trigger. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? Whereas when you're just in a state of flow and in a calm like mindset, you'll be there your best self. The best state of flow I've ever been in a fight was me PFL debut, actually, against Ben Ellis. I just went in, caught him, clipped him early, and I literally felt like I had the judge of the range from like the minute I clobbered him with a few shots, pushed him up against the fence, we broke away, and then I landed a jab, left hook, and then from there I was like, I have this range, and he wasn't really moving, and I was just popping the shot. I was just kind of like, I felt like I was like almost dancing in there. I felt like I was free, you know what I mean? So my mindset was to always, you know, attain that level of, you know, flow.
That's the benchmark.
That's where I want to be. And before that, all that day, I was like, I was gonna, because I was like, I'm not like, this is my, I was winning that fight to potentially go into a European tournament. I got bumped up to the main card on ESPN. They gave me like that opportunity, so I was like, I'm gonna come out here and show these fuckers that I am levels above this fella, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna go out and bust them up, like. But ever since then, it's been up and down. Like, me fight in Belfast, John actually was in the cage before I walked in. He's like, Nathan, when I was in the cage, John was like, Nathan, you do know you're about to fight now in one minute here, because I was pure like, not flat, but I was actually so relaxed. But like, I don't know, on the outside looking in, I probably look like, he's not himself, he's a bit flat, but I felt so calm that I was just, we're gonna get this done. Do you know what I mean? But like, depends on the perspective. But you know, I'm doing alright considering. So I'll not worry about that too much. You know what I mean?
No,
definitely. Fight in Belfast, is that the one you had earlier on this year?
Yeah, that was the elbow knockout
finish,
I got. Like, I was so relaxed in that fight, ridiculously relaxed. Like, I think maybe it was like the level of, like, I was like, in my head I was like, I'm gonna beat this fella. Like, and I had a weird arrogance where I was like, I could have not trained for 3 months, rocked up and bet this fella. That's how confident I was in that fight, which is probably not a good thing either. Because if he did catch me, if he did come out and surprise me, I'm like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? But on that day, the circumstances were the circumstances, and I knew I was going to knock him out with an elbow. Especially after he missed weight, I was like, oh, he's definitely getting knocked out now because you drain yourself too much. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was the only time I've ever really felt like that. In my last fight, I was a little bit relaxed as well, but I was a little bit nervous as well, and I knew the fella would have had a little bit of weight on me, so that was my only that was my only little bit in there. I was like, right, this fella's gonna be a bit stronger. So I was like, I was more nervous in the anticipation of like, is this fella gonna be like, is my clinch game gonna be ineffective?
Yes.
So like, it was funny. I went in and we knew he was gonna clinch me, and I went full John Jones. I went in and took him down. Do you know what I mean? And put him on the mat and started beating him up on the mat. And we knew he was gonna try sticking me up against the cage anyway. For the whole training camp, it was all wall work, and he put me there. The minute he got me there, I choked him out. So it was like, it was another night of good decision making. That's all I'll say.
And at least you've proven to yourself more than anyone else that regardless of how relaxed or over hyped you are going into a fight, you're still capable of getting the result.
Yeah, I think I just have a good knowledge of fighting, calmness in there, like calmness in the madness. And just, I think I have a good level of concentration when I'm in there. I think that's the main thing. Like,
definitely. Speaking of calmness and the madness, if we move away from fighting, obviously fighting is a very chaotic lifestyle. Is there anything you do as part of your daily routine, or just a habit that you've grown over time to help you just ground yourself and stay in a good place mentally?
I don't. I just do what everyone else would do. You know what I mean? I wake up, feed myself, I clean my house. Walk me, well, I can't, my dog is bollocks now. I walk my dog. I go for a coffee if I want to go for a coffee. I go training. I come home, I'll do me washing, clean the dishes, just live a normal life. There's nothing really I do to ground myself or to try bring myself back down, because I feel like I'm already a fairly grounded person. In fact, I feel like sometimes I need to be a bit of a fucking arrogant arsehole and have a bit more of a personality. Like, not that I'm saying I don't have a personality, but like, sometimes I feel like I can be a bit more like do you know what I mean? Because I feel like when I am that person, I make the wrong decisions. And when I am grounded, I'm proper in control of everything. So my mindset is to like stay with doing what I'm doing, be relaxed, be calm, just focus on the basics of stuff. Like, whereas like that was on my holidays there 2 weeks ago, so I was like, right, I'm free here. I can be a messer. I can do what I want to do. I don't have to have like the face training the next day. I don't. So over there, I'll be that me alter ego. You know what I mean? The other Nate will come out over there.
You're Nathan, and that's Nate.
Yeah. So Nate will come out over there. And Nathan is at home. Do you know what I mean? But other than that, just do the basic necessities that life gives us. You know what I mean? Clean up after myself, make me dinner. Clean up the house, do me dishes, do me washing, go training, make sure my bed is tidy, make sure my room is clean. There's nothing else really more to life. Make sure my girlfriend is happy, make sure my family's happy. Whatever I can do, that's just keeps everything in natural order. That's all it is really for me.
Nice.
Last quick fire for me. I just love talking about food and asking about food. So after a fight is done, you've got to win. What's your like go-to meal or restaurant that you're dying to get into?
I normally do end up eating pizza. I think just it's a carb overload. It's like whatever. If you're going meaty, if you're going like hot honey, if you're going like anything like that, I'm getting a big excited here.
See the sweat starting.
But pizza, pasta, just something that's like saucy and, do you know what I mean, heavy on the stomach, and just meaty fuck loud. If I'm having pasta, loads of meat or prawns or something, you know what I mean, something that's very tasty. But I'd say that pizza, Italian style food is normally a go-to for me.
Go wrong, man.
Or if I'm going on the opposite end, if I'm getting after fight, if I don't eat pizza, I'm getting a takeaway. I'd probably be Chinese or an Indian. I'd be more intrigued by the Indian.
Right.
Okay. Sick. Yeah. It's UFC 304 this weekend when we're recording, and we're both like, every time there's a fight card in Europe, we'll watch it together and we'll get a takeaway. And the thought of that spice bag on Saturday has gotten me through the last week and a half, I'd say.
Where do you draw it from?
There's a place in Bonog. If you follow Conor Ryan, you've probably seen it. It's called Seven Spice.
I've seen that,
it's like 2 minutes
from
from your gaff, so that's the spot.
Premium spice bag, yeah.
Oh man, it's unbelievable. I've never had that. I don't even want to get into it because I haven't had my breakfast yet. So even the thought of it.
Did you ever eat the spice bag? Oh, I don't know how good they are now. I just remember them when I was like early 20s. They were little. The Dragon Boat out in Hout.
Yeah, I got it once or
never had
twice.
them, no, you didn't?
Yeah.
They used to put this like sugary kind of fucking.
Yeah, it's like that in
thing on
Seven
top of it.
Spice.
It was so
Oh, really?
nice. Yeah,
It's like crack.
Is that MSG?
Yeah.
Is
I
it?
don't know what it is, but
it's definitely not good. You know what I mean? But that Dragon Boat and how it used to have like this like kind of sweet kind of
yeah.
shake like
Yeah.
spicy thing or whatever it was. But I remember the first time I met, I was like, John was like doing drugs.
crack,
My eyes just open like that. I was like. And then I was just coking into the whole thing. I used to make sure I'd be out there every second week to get a spice bag. I'd get a spice bag every now and then. You know what I mean? Just drive out the house to get one. Like I'm going out the house just to see the sights, and then like coking into a spice bag in the car. You know what I mean?
It sends you into a dangerous place if you want on top of it.
That's how I know. That's the thing about like takeaway food is all them fats
whatever
and
they put in it,
additives and stuff like that. They even though you feel shy after eating it, you're like.
You know what you're signing up for.
I wouldn't mind another one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'll get another one next week, and then next week turns into 2-3 times a week or whatever if you're not in control. But no, I feel your pain. I used to always have the lads over, we watch the OCs, but just can't stay up anymore.
Yeah, that's
I'm just getting too old now. I feel like once I'm not asleep, if I'm not asleep by 2 maximum, I'm horrible the next day.
Is right off.
I'm
Yeah.
little arsehole, and I feel almost depressed. I'm just sitting around like slumped over. Like last night I had a fairly late one, and but actually surprisingly I woke up early today, which normally I sleep in a little bit and then then you're waking up later than you do and you feel groggy. But I've been up since like fucking 8:30, 9 today, so I kind of don't when you get less sleep you come down to actually perform. I feel like I'm on that source of energy source today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of like get energy and getting energy from different places, obviously you train in SBG, which has quite a stable of fighters and has had over the years. What's it like in the gym and on the mats when you have people like Keith are getting ready for a fight, or when Johnny or Brad or anyone else like that? Can you feel it in the gym?
Definitely, yeah. And I feel like it's one of them things, we're so busy as a gym that we're always nearly fighting around at the same time. So like from my perspective, if a few of us are on Bellator and then like Brad's on UFC or Johnny's on UFC or Keith's on UFC, it's like this kind of communal bunching together of the group that like, I know you're going to war, you know I'm going to war, you know that I'm having experiencing the same emotions that you are. We're all trying to push each other. You know, if any of the lads are doing the simulations, we'll probably be like, normally they're on before the class, so everyone's kind of watching around. You're seeing people get sharper as the weeks go on, and kind of if there's a good spar in the gym, you're watching spar like, right, when I'm sparring, I'm gonna fucking I want to be on that much on the ball, and I'm gonna try this, gonna try that. So it definitely helps, because I fought a few times. I have fought where I'd be like the only one fighting for like within the 2 or 3 month period of that time. And sometimes when like if people that aren't obliged or committed to be there, they maybe will slack a little bit in training. It's me now at the minute. I haven't been doing as much. I've been just actually got a skin infection, so I've been doing just like running and all that shit. But like, when you're not in the gym as much, then you kind of have to depend on who you have around. And any given day, there might be like some of the up and coming amateurs on the mat, or else really heavy guys, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get the best out of this. So I'll tailor my training around. But when everyone's up near enough around the same time, it's unmatched, and it's great to be a part of it. Yeah, it's really and then even after training, that's what I love. I just love after training when the gym is packed and we're done the training session. We bet each other up for a few rounds, and we'll sit in the sauna and have a laugh, or have a laugh in the changing room, or sit on the mats and chat about whatever. That's what I like, the more social aspect of it as well. It's in a fairly isolated sport that's individual, just to have your teammates around you and just having a buzz, having a laugh, working towards the same goal. It's one of the better things of the sport in my mind.
Definitely.
Love it, man. Before you became a member of SBG and part of that team, though, I know you started off. What was the name of your first club that you joined?
It's called Cayuso.
I didn't want to try and pronounce it because I would have butchered it. Yeah.
So called Cayuso. It's just based in Finglas there.
In Finglas, and I don't want to give your whole background and life story, and I know you've told it tons of times, but I found it really interesting that, firstly, how you got started in the sport, because that's gas, like playing the UFC game and then just seeing the moves and be like, I actually fancy a bit of that. But as you came through, started to see progress, you mentioned then that you had the first amateur fight, won the championship, the title, whatever it was there. But then it felt like around the pandemic was a time where things kind of almost you came to a crossroads, and you'd made the decision at that point, was it to like step away from fighting more or less? What was it that kind of changed for you at that stage that led you to make that?
Yeah, it was actually before the pandemic. It was pandemic was 2020, wasn't it?
2020, yeah.
So I think it would have been around 2019, maybe 2018, 2019. So in Cayuso, my coach Barry, who basically reared me, he was me manager as well as coach, and we were finding it very difficult to get matched with fights. Obviously, I had a good pedigree. I was probably the best fighter in Ireland at the time, so very, very hard to get. Bear in mind, I lost my first 2 fights, and I won me first on my third pro one at featherweight. So I moved up a weight division, and yeah, we were just finding it hard to get fights. People weren't accepting, and then if there was someone who did want to accept, it'd be on ridiculous terms.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it was making him frustrated, and then making me frustrated. I was still like 19, 20. I would have been I was 21, maybe around 21. I was a manager in Aldi at the time. I was like mad to get out working in Aldi, and I wanted the career to take off, and I just wasn't I went through a little rut where I was skipping training and wasn't turning up to training and taking it less serious, and you know, I was the only MMA fighter in the gym, so I would kind of have to be accountable for my own training, and I'd maybe rock up once, twice, 3 times a week max for my sessions. My coach kind of got a pain in his hole with my lack of discipline, and I just thought I think he was just like, you know what, I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket if he's not putting all his eggs in one basket. And rightfully so. He's like, I'm just not doing this anymore. I want to I'm taking a step back from doing MMA, and he's like, if you want to train jiu-jitsu, more than welcome to train jiu-jitsu, but I'm done with MMA. And I was like, right, sound. I was like, right, I'll take a little break as well, because my head was a little bit, I wasn't fully there, and I think in my head I was like, right, this sport, you can't do it if you're not fully there. It's very dangerous as it is, so if you're already in a dangerous kind of state of mind or headspace to do this sport when you're not all the way in is a bit reckless. So I was like, right, I'll take a step back as well, and took the step back, and I was like, right, I'll just focus on my jiu-jitsu. But like, jiu-jitsu is to me, in the gym as well, I was a professional fighter, training system and nappies. A lot of the lads in the gym are like full-time jobs, part-time. They just love doing jiu-jitsu for jiu-jitsu. So like, I wouldn't have had a lot. There's not one day where I'd rock up and I wouldn't get the better of people. You know what I mean? Because I was already so advanced and so competitive and whatever. So I kind of became a little bit disinterested, and I started going out with my mates more and blah blah blah. I started going out and partying and drinking more, and gave less of a shite about like training and such. And then COVID came then, and that was where like shit hit the fan. And not even, obviously for everyone shit hit the fan, because it was just like, what, like this is mental. Like, now bear in mind, I was lucky enough, I was still working. I worked in Aldi at the time, so the hours were there for us, because we were on one of the few places open. So I was, I was kind of grateful of the hours I was getting, because I was able to distance myself from all the chaos. But then I was around the chaos every day, because everyone's coming in, and it's just negative energy all over the place. But COVID was a big eye opener, and it was where I found like I struggled the most mentally, and then from there it just that's where I started to dip. My living situation, like, just for context, like my stepma and my ma aren't together. I'm stepfather and my ma aren't together. We live in the same house. They live in the same house. They don't like each other.
Yeah,
it's a concoction of bad energy, and it's not a nice environment to be in, and to work 12 to 15 hour shifts and come home and just like
the tension.
It's just like, fuck this, and just you look for your escapes, and my escapes were not those that would be anyway beneficial to me. You know what I mean? And just started to go a bit more downhill from there, and time after time got worse with substance abuse and drinking, and then it just led to me into a little bit of a decline then. Things happen. I'm still grateful all that shit happened to me, you know what I mean? Because I wouldn't be here now today in this position if I didn't go through what I went through. I do believe everything happens for a reason. But like it was an eye opener for me. COVID was, and I got a lot of me priorities straight. I hit rock bottom to sort out all my problems and get me priorities in straight. So to hit rock bottom like that was probably the best thing that could have happened to me, and it gave me a sense of individuality. Who do I want to be? What do I want to do? And how am I gonna make it happen for myself? And since then, I've just been on I made the decision to come back doing MMA, SBG, just into like the second half of COVID. COVID was 2020, maybe like mid 2020 or close to 2021. I joined SBG, and I never looked back from there. And everything has just worked out. I set myself my plan, my goals, my dreams, and gave myself a route up the hole, and put more time into people who are going to get me where I want to be rather than people who aren't going to get me where I want to be, and everything has gradually fell into place for me, you know what I mean?
Definitely. You mentioned, did you have a follow-up question on that? Because I wanted to pick his brain a little bit about specifics.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned there about rock bottom, and I think it's an important distinction to make, because there's lots of areas in our life where you can fuck up and get away with it. Like you'll always have an extra inch, or like someone will always forgive you, and you can always kind of get away with things until it gets to a point where there's no one there to forgive you, or there's nowhere else to turn. And then bottom is that place where you're forced to change because there's nowhere else for you to go.
Yeah.
Which can be the best thing to happen to you, but at the time it could be probably the most terrifying and intimidating things to happen. What did that change look like for you? Was that like one moment you're sitting on your bed like, I can't do this anymore? Or was it like a series of days or maybe weeks where you were like, something has to give here?
Yeah, so there's one big one that, so there's a lot of stuff that led up to this one big one in my head. So I remember this day so well, but like, I was so traumatized by my behaviour and me substance abuse back then that it's a bit of a blur leading up to it. But I just remember like there was a period of time where for weeks I'd rock up to work right in the car outside, and I'd have serious panic attacks. Like I just did not want to go into work. I did not want to face people. I barely had the confidence in, like, not that I didn't have, I have like when I go in, I put on the act and I'm like, yeah, but I just did not. I just wanted to be isolated away from people. I wanted to be someone as far away from everyone else, as far away from reality as I could be. But me circumstances didn't allow me to be that way. But because I was a manager as well, and such responsibility on my shoulders to rock up. Like if I don't rock up for the shift, the store isn't gonna open. And like I had a certain level of responsibility that like I can't not do that, you know what I mean? But I'd rock up nearly in tears in the car, like that, fucking panic attacks, and then like I'd take a deep breath and I'd go in, do my day's shift. But this went on for a while, and then I'd be at home. Like when I wasn't fucking in work, I'd be at home bleeding, doing whacker in my room, and I was just mental. And now I'm looking back, I'm just thinking, what's going on here? But that over a period of time led me to the one day I remember just sitting in my room. My mind was tortured because I'm in a box room, and it's fucking double bed in a box room. Is small. it is smaller than a prison cell, and my room was painted all white. It was literally like a prison cell. That's the way I was viewing it at the time. I was like looking around me surrounds like this room, and I never wanted to leave the room. I didn't want to be down with me ma, who's in the kitchen. My dad's in the sitting room. I don't want to be in either of their companies. My sister is hanging around the house forever. I didn't want to be in anyone else's company. I only wanted to be in my own company, and I was sitting in my own room and overthinking things and talking to myself negatively, and like feeling sorry. Like a lot of it was just me feeling sorry for myself, for my circumstances. Like why me? Like why nothing ever works out for me? You know what I mean? I was in that type of mentality. Like fuck life, fuck this, fuck that, and blah blah blah. And I remember then I was like, if I'm just gonna keep having this attitude and keep living this way, there's no point in me even living here anymore. There's no point in me being on this planet anymore. Like why am I torturing myself just for myself to be unhappy constantly and be in this complete rut? And I just I was like, I may as well just fucking kill myself at this rate. Like, but it was like when I had that internal conversation with myself, it was like I don't know if it was an angel or God or whatever it was, but it was like someone just grabbed me by the scruff and gave me a clatter, because I was sitting on my bed like this at this point talking to myself, and then when I had that that conversation with myself and Tierney, I just stood up off my bed with like I said, like, I don't know if I can describe, it was like a state of panic. And I was like, just say I was like 23 at the time, I was like, Nathan, you're like 23, like this is not, like, it was like Nate was fucking having all this internal conversation, and then Nathan brought myself back down and he was like, Nathan, like, what the fuck, like, you need to get your shit together here, this is scary, like, if you're actually at the, contemplating wanting to top yourself, like, do you know what I mean? I was like, this is scary, like, and I was like, right, this shit, something has to change here, like, things you have to get yourself in order, like. And I got onto there was my manager and Ali knew there was something up with me at the time. He knew there was something up with me. I remember he brought me in for this fucking speech, and I was about drugs and this and that. I was just like, oh yeah. Yeah, I'd never say anything to anyone. I'd be like, oh yeah, because he was telling me I used to be into partying and this and that, but like I got, like, he told me he was doing the right thing and relating to me in a way, but I was just like,
you weren't in a place to
didn't want to open up to him, do you know what I mean? But he always said there's a helpline there if you ever need to ring, you know what I mean? And that's so I rang them, and just to see what they'd say, and it was like a confidential call line. It wouldn't be traced back to me store or anything like that, and I just had a brief chat with them initially on the phone, and I was just in, not that everything they were telling me, right, in an arrogant way, I was like, I can fix myself. Do you know what I mean? That was I was just like, why am I gonna go, and not that I'm not bad mountain counsellors or anything like that, but I was just like, I feel like I have the intelligence and the will to educate myself on all this stuff. So I was like, right, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it start from scratch, learn about psychology from like the ground up, and why I'm thinking the way I'm thinking, why is my brain chemistry working this way, and why am I doing all these things so wrong? Do you know what I mean? So I delved into psychology, started studying psychology. I actually wanted to go and study psychology in college, because I was just fascinated how the brain works, and how like each personality is built up, and what like traumas from the past make this person act this way, and what traumas make another person act another way, and what type of environments you go up in, which dictate our way to go one way or the other. And then as well as that, just understanding like that your innate in your brain, your good or your bad angel. I always wanted to understand that. I read a book called The Chimp Paradox, which is like broke that down. It's like for me, I see it as like psychology for dummies. It broke that down for me, and that kind of gave me the breakthrough into understanding psychology. And then from there, I just listen to other people talk about like people with trauma, people with substance abuses and addiction, and because I come from a family of alcoholics and drug addicts, and I always wanted to be the one that broke away from all that. And not saying not everyone in my family is alcoholic or drug. That sounds terrible, mate. But a lot of them have addiction problems. And I wanted to be the one to break that barrier. So to see myself going into the same kind of rut, I was like, I want to be someone who can, guide people to go down the right way, and guide people in the right direction, and give them maybe the little tools to deal with themselves mentally, so that when they are in the big bad world, or along with their thoughts, they can rectify it with these little bit of tools. And I always just try to do that for me mates or me family, or me my young cousins coming up, or kids in the gym, or young fellas in the gym who I coach, and trying to give them a little bit of tools to deal with their lives. But that would have been the main gist of the going downhill to come back uphill. In terms of the build up to that during that COVID period, definitely.
Unreal, man. that book you mentioned, the Chimp Paradox, bit of a side note, but that's the one. We had Pete Taylor on the podcast. He blames that book on when he got shot.
Is it serious?
Well, that's a bit of a stretch. But
I actually didn't listen to that. So what was it? What was the
Nah, he had read the book, and basically the idea of the chimp and like the emotional mind and the rational mind. And the morning he got shot, he was having that back and forth with himself, like, oh, will I just sleep in? Like, will I not bother going? And he's like, that was just the chimp trying to keep me in bed. So he's like, no, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go gym. And then that was the morning that the shooting happened. So he's like, that fucking chimp.
Listen to the
It's like, it wasn't for that chimp.
That's fair.
But when I was listening back to you on different podcasts talking about that period of time and overall, first, like, just fair play to you for opening up and sharing all that, because especially in a world of fighting, which is at least on the surface as masculine as it gets, you know, that way to be able to open up and share that stuff that I'm sure tons of people can relate to is massive. So fair play and respect to you for that, first and foremost. Secondly, given everything that you went through, it kind of feels like there's two versions of Nate's fight career, let's call it, the fight that, or the career that happened pre all that, and then what's happened since. What would you say is the biggest difference or differences between the fighter and man ultimately you were before all of that and then off the back of it?
I think before that, I was never really sure of myself as a fighter, even though I'm not saying you could say imposter syndrome. I just, even though I was the best fighter in Ireland, basically got to the furthest stage of the World Championships. I lost in the finals, bear in mind, with a torn rotator cuff. Like, I lost by decision, like, which is because I couldn't even lift my arm before the fight, so I had to go out and hold my own. And even after then, I still was just about believing in myself. Do you know what I mean? But I always had like this thing in the back of my mind, like, I'm working a full-time job. You know, I'm training in an amateur club with no fighters. Do you know what I mean? Like, I always had them doubts in my head. To then, you know, move to SBG. Obviously, still work up until I was able to leave. But to train SBG with people who are training full time every day, that was where I was going to grow, and that's where I was going to get me confidence. So when I joined SBG, I was like, I'm giving myself 3 years to be, if not on everyone's level or better. Do you know what I mean? And that was me main kind of goal. I was like, I want to get on everyone's level, if not better, and I want to be out of this job within the next 1.5 to 2 years, providing, you know, everything goes right. And once I got to leave the job, then I was training 2-3 times a day, every day for 6 days. So that's where the change really came, because I was always unaware or unsure of how good I could have been. You know what I mean? And now that I have the ability to train every day, 2-3 times a day, 6 days a week, you know, now I have that assurance in myself, because the work, I'm seeing it, everyone else is seeing it, I'm putting the work in. Whereas when I was in Aldi walking away, I was always wondering, like, oh, they're training two times a day, they're getting an extra session in over me, I'm not getting the same rest time, I'm doing 2 sessions, and then I'm in I start work at 5 in the morning the next morning, I'm not recovering properly, I'm not eating properly, I'm drained, I'm this and that and the other. Whereas when I left, I was like, now I have no excuses. I mean, and I think the fact that I have no excuses and I have a certain level of responsibility and, you know, hold myself credible to my own training, that makes me work harder, that makes me want to achieve more, and you know, that'd be the main points on it.
Yeah. What did a typical like week look like when you are trying to train full time in SBG but also working full time in Aldi? Because I think it's important people see, like, to get to this level, like the sacrifices that it takes. And
yeah, so like the shifts will always change. Like one of my managers, so when I was an amateur, I didn't mind it as much because I was like, grand, make it a few quid, whatever.
Yeah.
And when I started to get a little bit more serious, I was like asking like certain managers who liked what I was doing, they'd support me. They'd give me, like, say, morning shifts. So I'd have like just morning shifts. So we'd start at 6 in the morning, which means you're up for like, I could get in 15 minutes in the morning. Do you know what I mean? Not a while, like, break the speed limit, but you're up at, let's say, 4:30 or 5, depending like how many alarms you need to set. But be in for 6, work 6 to 2 or 6 to 3, come home, eat, maybe have a nap. I'd lift weights then at like 5 or 6 and then do the class at 7, or else just do the class at 7. And then that'd be that every day. The days where I was off, I trained twice. So I trained in the morning, then I trained in the evening. But that was when the shifts were working in my favour. So then I ended up having to work it out that when I joined SBG, the pro class trained in the morning. So I'd go in, I'd train at 11 with the pro team. I'd leave, I'd finish training at say 12:30, 1:45, and have to be in for like sometimes 1 or sometimes like 1:30, 2. So I'd be literally get in, get showered, throw my uniform on while I'm in there, and spin out to I moved to a place out in Sutton at this point, so I was working out in Sutton. So I'd hop on the motorway, spin all the way up to Sutton then.
That's a proper
and
trek
then
as well,
yeah, and then I'd walk like say 1:30 to close, which would be 1:30 till 11:30. Sometimes you get out there 11:45, and I'd be getting home then after 1, 1:15, and then go to sleep and do it all again the next day. But I used to go home. I used to have so much energy from work because you're fucking
worried
after being closing the shift and whatever, and you have so much energy. I get home, I just shadow box for like fucking from like 1 o'clock in the morning till maybe like 3 o'clock in the morning, just shadow box.
No way.
Yeah, and get me extra session in. That's what I saw as me extra session. Like, so I shadow box from like 1 till 2, 2:30, maybe 3, depending on how much I was into it. And then I'm trying to calm myself back down, then go to sleep, wake up and do it again the next day. So, but I went through a phase of that, and then obviously it got to the stage where I was able to leave. But I always have respect for people who can do both. Even you see a lot of lads still to this day, even the likes of Andreas Binder, he still works in Aldi and he's managing it all. But I was talking to Andreas, he's in a place where they look after him and they facilitate him to the best of their ability, which is brilliant because it's very hard to do it otherwise.
Yeah.
But I know I'm a fighter. I know that's what I was made to do. It's like, why am I walking? Do you know what I mean? Fuck this. And when I was able to leave, it was a weight off my shoulders, and it was the best decision from my career I've ever made. And I stand by it, and I do it again and again. I just wish I didn't leave sooner. Do you know what I mean? That's the only thing. Do you think it's the financial worries more than anything? But I have a supportive family that I think they would have supported me anyway if I left earlier, but I had a car loan I needed to pay off, so I had to get that paid off.
Get that box off.
But yeah, my only regret is I never left sooner.
Nice. I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind, about a specific fight of yours, because somebody that we've come to know recently and had him on the podcast was Shamrock.
Yeah.
And I heard you speak about the Shen fight. I think it was on the Talking Bollocks podcast where you kind of described it as like the breakout fight for you, or because you had been offered the fight and I think you didn't want to take it because you knew Shen well and there was that relationship there, and he obviously has his own kind of story, which is fascinating to anyone who doesn't know it. Winning that fight against Shen, did that like solidify in your mind, I am made for this, I'm capable of this, or what was the kind of emotions around that fight?
Yeah, that was a tricky one. You know what I mean? Would have trained with Shen in SBG. He wasn't SBG anymore. I was training in DCA anyways, and then he rocks up one day there. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He's like, "Told me the story with SBG." I was like, "Right." So I trained with him in SBG. Then I trained with him in DCA, and then he's a featherweight and he's fighting Reasley, and I was fighting Reasley. I was like, I had from day one I had a strange feeling that was gonna work out how it worked out. So I bet Roger Lopez. So I was meant to fight Neil Ward. So this is during COVID. So I was meant to fight Neil Ward, right? And because of the COVID restrictions, they moved the fight a week later, right? So I was manager in Ireland at the time. I took my holidays for the week of the fight. They moved the fight a week later. Couldn't get the time off. Had the only fight I ever pulled out of, and it was because I
couldn't get
holidays. Couldn't get that at work. So I don't class that as a pull out. More of a reschedule, we'll say.
Yes,
but sure, he ended up stepping in then to fight Neil Ward. Made it out to be for a title. Demanded it to be a title. He got it. He won the title. And then they came to me saying, I heard Dave was like, they want you to fight Shen. And I was like, hey, look, it's a bit it's a bit close to home now at the minute. Like he's been training with us. I trained with him in DCA. Bit of a conflict of interest. I was like, I don't know if that's the fight to do now. Like, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll give it time. And Dave was like, right sound. So I ended the fight Roger Lopez. Finished him in 9 seconds.
9 seconds.
Yeah, got a nice quick finish there. And then after that, I was like, oh, I knew it. As soon as I bet him, I knew I was gonna be fighting him next. And a few weeks go by, and Dave gets on to me. He's like, Nate, they really, really want you to fight Shen. Like, and I was like, right. And I remember the day well because my dad's fond of the gargle. Like, so he has his organs to be a bit roughed up and stuff like that. But I remember one day he was in the house, and he was in the house. He wasn't feeling great, and I was like, right. And I went out with my mate. We were just floating around town. And my dad rings me, she's like, can you come home and bring me to the hospital? I don't feel well at all. I was like, I'm out. I was like, fucking ring an ambulance. Like, do you know what I mean? He's like, all right. So we rang the ambulance, and in that time I was like, right, I'll make my way home. So Dave texted me on that day so about the Shen fight, and I was like, look, Dave, chat to you about it later. I just have something going on here. He's like, sound. So fucking my dad goes into hospital and blah blah. He has acute appendicitis, so his appendix was his pancreas was fairly beat up, and it was so bad that he ended up in ICU. So he was in ICU for a few weeks, and it was like a day or two after, I was like, right, I was living with my dad at this point as well, like, so I went between my ma and my stepdad's house and my dad's. So I was living with my dad at this point, and I was like, right, fucking, I can sit at home by myself worrying, or else I can accept this fight and have it to distract me. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, right, fuck it, I'll just accept the fight because it'll give me something to get my mind off off what's going on with me dad. So I then text Dave back. I goes, look, fuck it, Dave, let's do it. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, you know where I want to get to, and this seems to be the path that's bringing me to where I want to get to. So let's just do it. Let's get the fight done, and we'll move on from it then. Do you know what I mean? So we booked the fight. Probably, I don't know, Shen was probably a bit shocked that, because there's no way he didn't know that they were going to offer me, offer him me, do you know what I mean? Because like he would have been in touch with his manager. They would have been like, you know what I mean, we're going to try get this fella for you.
Yeah.
I was like that. I was, working at the time, and Shen trained with me probably, and sometimes I'm not the best in the gym, do you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm more of a, like, I'll put me in the bright lights and I'll do it better. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
And I wonder, you'd probably like, yeah, fuck it, I fancy my chances against him, but I fancied my chances against him just as much, if not more, you know what I mean? And felt like I had something to prove. He was 6-0, really, really well respected. Everyone was behind him, and even so much that the Irish media were getting behind him. I was like, what about me? You cunt, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the local lad, you know what I mean? But he just was so good at being relatable and selling himself that everyone was getting behind us. So I was almost like, fuck you, I'm going to go out and I'm going to put on a performance here. Like, and all the while my dad was in hospital. I was like, I'm going to do this for you. Yeah, I'm gonna make it all worthwhile. I went out and got the finish, and that seemed to be the one that really, gave me the inspiration and the light inside myself to go, I'm made for this. Do you know what I mean? And that got me my next opportunity, which was a fight on Bellator, and it was the Bellator fight was then to be the one that would clear me of any financial rut I was in. And then then I could get myself out of Aldi, and so it was a bit of a bad story for him because of what happened, but in retrospect for me it was the perfect story. And I bet a very experienced, skillful fighter, and knocked him out, which is brownie points as well. So gave me a huge fire under my belly, and it was everyone that I think that was the fight that made me go, because Shen was good mental warfare as well, and all his bot accounts texting me and fucking giving me grief and
Really?
stuff like that. Yeah, I was like, just, so I was just giving them stick back and having a laugh or whatever. And but that's the first time I ever really experienced that, like people coming at me online and stuff like that. So I was like, right, this is all experience. I was like, I needed to experience. Like this is, I was like, in the back of me, I was like, right, this is a bit mad, but I was like, this is what I needed to experience. I was like, this is getting me a little taste of what might come in the future.
Level,
So that was a mad old story, but definitely a big part of the reason why I got myself in such a good run. It was a good, it was a nice chapter, we'll say, of my career.
Definitely.
And then off the back of that, you mentioned Bellator. Was this pre-Bellator and the fallout of Bellator to PFL, or was this around the time that all that was going on?
No, this is well before that. This would have been 2022. I fought in February 2022 against Scott Patterson, good Welsh fighter. Very good IMAF experience. Very, like, even the lads in the gym, Kieran and Richie, were like, I remember Kieran was like saying, like, him and Richie talking about, they're like, fuck, this is fucking tough fight for night, like because Scott's record was like 1-2 or 1-1, whatever it was. His record didn't reflect the skills.
Yeah.
Which seems to be a bit of a tale of some of my opponents. You know what I mean? They might not have the best record, but their skills are definitely of a high level. They're just losing maybe on the day by the skin of their teeth, or whatever way it works out. But John was like, I promise you, I'll get you a big opportunity, so we'll get you on this one. So I was the second fight of the night. It was only a 1-fight deal. So in my head, I was like, right, if I can come out and, you know, put this lad away, they'll sign me and I'll get a good contract and this and that. But on the night, I made the fight worse than what I probably could have. He was a good grappler, and like that, maybe John Jones told you, I just wanted to go and beat him at his own game.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to submit him, but I was so hell-bent. I visualising submissions the whole training camp and wrestling the whole training camp that I almost, like, you know, stopped myself from working away on my strike, and I clipped him in the fourth round. Was it the fourth? Yeah, I clipped him in the fourth round or second round quite early, to the point where he was like wobbly, you know what I mean? And smothered me work and crushed me shots, and didn't get the call back from Bellator, which would then lead me on to another opportunity, which would then be better for me in the long run. Like that, everything happens for a reason. But that would have been my first one before PFL came along, and gave me a taste of what it was really like to fight. Now, actually, I fought my first ever on my second ever pro fight in the 3Arena on Bahama, against Pavel, who's my teammate now. And that was my first taste of being there, but I lost, so it was a sour taste. So that was my first taste being in the 3Arena and winning. And I brought a fucking huge crowd, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I fought on the Bellator on the Friday, and I was back in work on Monday morning, and I just like, that was when I was like, nah. I'm done. I'm fuck this. Come from such joy, and there's like whatever about someone who's able to be humble enough to go, no, I can work a shift and that. I was like, nah, I'm done. Do you know where I was last week? Do you know what I mean? Did you see what I done last week? Like fucking unanimous decision, fucking packed crowd. I was like, no chance, can't do this anymore. Like, but then I ended up fighting, and that got me the opportunity to then fight in Malta on that Centurion show, which then set up me fight in PFL 4 weeks later. Yeah. So everything worked out and happened the way it was meant to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Can I just ask quickly about the alley? What was it like leaving? Was it just when I was like, I'm not coming back and just bounce, or did you have to like give in your
2 weeks notice?
I always feel sorry for them, because I just airplane mode on the phone and just wasn't coming in. Do you know what I mean? I was a manager, bear in mind, so I shafted them completely. Like, and I apologised to because I had a few people who I did care about in there, like, who I actually got on with, and I made their lives very difficult, and they were ringing me and texting me, and I just wasn't texting them back, and I wasn't like that. I was like, oh fuck them, I'm ignoring them. It was like, what? I just didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? I was just like, it's just easier for me to just turn off my phone and pretend nothing is happening. Do you know what I mean? Just walking through the day, pretend nothing's happening,
go to Lidl instead.
And bear in mind, I was like telling me mum, my dad, I was going to work. So because my ma and dad live in different houses, I would like stay with him for a day, right? And then I go, all right, he go, when are you in work? I go, tomorrow, I'm in work tomorrow. And then I go to my ma's house and she's like, yeah, off today. I'm like, yeah, I'm off today. You know what I mean? So I was like fucking living this like double life. I was like Hannah Montana. And I was living this double life, and then I got to the point where I was just like, I had to be honest. I was like, here, Ma. I remember chatting to my ma. I was like, Ma, she thought I was still working at this point, or at least I think she did. And I was like, Ma, I was talking to like Barry, who be me jiu-jitsu coach, like talking to Barry. He's like, you know, saying that like it might be worth the risk just to take the chance. You know what I mean? You could always go back to work and blah blah blah. And she was kind of like looking at me from respect, because she never really knew how good I could have been. But the fact that I think I won there in the 3Arena, you know, and I was like, she saw what I can actually do in the big stage and blah blah blah. I think she was like, well, if you think you can do it, or if you want to do it, like, you know, go for it. And I was like, right. And then I was like, oh yeah, by the way, I haven't been in work. She goes, well, I fucking know you're in work. You're hopping in between hearing your dads all the time. You're coming in at mad times and all. I was like, she's like, never in all your years working were you that erratic with your like shifts. You know what I mean? I was like, fair, but yeah, that was that period of time, and then knuckled down then. But ended up having to give the keys back to the area manager that eventually got onto me, and I was just like, look, man, I'm very sorry about what I done, but I felt like it was the only thing I could do to make this happen. It came at the cost of views been messed up with your shifts, but you know, I'm happy with how it went for me. You know what I mean? To have this breakthrough and spiritual awakening, we'll say. You know what I mean? No, but I'm a bit of a wanker, but fuck it.
we all are sometimes.
Man, we all do. But the other thing that really stands out for me from your story, Nathan, is how many like setbacks there are, and how they always eventually lead to something bigger off the back end of it. And I think it's probably a message that any successful person, if you look close enough at what's happened to them, you'll see it time and time again. And just for anyone who's watching, who's probably in one of those low points at the minute, is like, as tough as it sounds, it's not what you want to hear at, but sometimes you need those tough moments and those points where you feel like, I don't see a way out here, and to be resilient enough to just keep going through. And like, you probably couldn't have even painted a picture of how everything would have led to where you're at now. Like, it's a mad story. It's like so many ups and downs along the way, but just staying in the game and keep showing up, and as hard as it is, keeping the faith can often just lead to the maddest things that lead you exactly where you want to be, or even bigger than you thought was possible.
Yeah, and one of the things I've been in down times is like in them moments they feel like they're an eternity, but like now looking back now, like maybe like 4 years later, at like whatever way I was in my worst state of mind, it was only really like, I know it's a lot of time really, but 6 months to a year, it's not that much time. But in that 6 months to a year, it felt like forever, where I was tortured mentally. Do you know what I mean? But now looking back, I was like, that's actually not that long. And like, I feel like I was a little pussy about to do that again. Do you know what I mean? Like, And now it's only 6, but it's easy saying that now because you know it was only 6 months. You don't know how long you're going to be in a rut. But I always look at, whenever I have a setback, or whenever I start to go into myself, I feel a little bit down. Like, for example, just we are talking about me missus moving to Dubai. My missus moving to Dubai now in 2-3 weeks. So that's going to be like, like what now? That's like a setback in itself. But whenever I feel like there's a setback, the way I perceive it, or the way I like talk to myself about it, is like, right, this is a new chapter. So whenever I have something that maybe goes wrong or doesn't the way I want to go, I always have to, I program my brain to be like, right, this is a new chapter. So this is whatever many chapters I'm on now in my life, but this is chapter 26. The chapter where she moves away and I build myself up in the time that she's away, and I become a new person. So each chapter in my life, I feel like I'm becoming a new person. I'm, educating myself on something new. I'm getting used to feeling an emotion I've never felt. I'm walking around it, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? I fix up my priorities. I gear towards maybe getting a house, whatever that chapter is. But I always feel like whenever there's a setback, I view, the months ahead as a new chapter for me to be able to go, right, I'm feeling this way now. Let's turn this page. Let's get this new chapter started, and then we can write this chapter in the way that we want it to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So whenever I feel like I need to change, I always say new chapter. You know what I mean? So that's kind of me mentality on getting out of being in the dumps, or if I feel like I'm in a rut and I do want things to change, I always say, right, new chapter. I'm sick of this chapter. I'm sick of this way of living. I'm sick of this kind of like rut I'm in at the minute. So I'm gonna flick the page, start a new chapter, and from tomorrow or today or whenever I make the decision, I'm gonna organize myself and organize my priorities to benefit me to how I want this chapter to go. And that's, I feel like this new chapter like way of doing things has been one of the keys to me being able to like manage my mind, manage my emotions, manage my ambitions, you know what I mean? Because I feel like when you know, right, fresh start now from here on out, we forget everything else, fresh start from here on out, it gives you that little bit of an incentive to not worry too much and stay yourself in the right direction, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a nice way to reframe it. Like each chapter is an opportunity to develop a different part of yourself. Yeah. If we stick at a chapter or the idea of chapters, 2 questions. Did somebody teach you this, or did you just develop it in your own time? And second question, the upcoming chapter is going to be when your missus moves away. What's the current chapter? How long has that been going on for? And what's your kind of biggest takeaway from that?
No, this is something I just developed myself. You know what I mean? I feel like when I was trying to break things down, and you know, when I was compartmentalizing things, and I used to always try find ways. How can I deal with things to get myself back on track, or how can I like put things away to then build up towards something new? But you know, that was just something I vocalized to myself internally, and it's been seeming to work. As far as the latter, I think I'm on my new chapter now. Okay. I literally made this decision there in the last week or so. With her going away, I've it's kind of hit me a little bit more than I thought it was gonna, because I'm like, fuck, right, someone you spend all your time with is suddenly gone. It's like, I have a lot of time to myself now to think. So I was kind of, because I was almost distracted from myself, I was like, right, now I'm going to be alone with myself a lot more. So, and the thought that was almost scary, because I was never in a relationship until I was with my missus up until 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So I was someone who was completely independent, and it took a lot of work to become someone who could function in a good relationship. And I really put a lot of time into my relationship with her to then go back to be going back to the person who I was. Like, even though I'm trying to be the same person, but the fact that she's not there, I'm gonna probably go back to some of me behaviors, mentalities, just to get by on my own. So I was like, right, last week there when we came back from the holidays, when she went home to our family, I had a few days to myself, and I was like, fuck, right, this is a bit more serious than I thought. Like, it's gonna be trickier than I thought, because I'm a real, be grand. Now she's worrying, what if you miss you from? I was like, be grand, just be positive. Do you know what I mean? And then I had a bit of time thinking, I was like, oh fuck, that be grand speech is I don't want to even give myself that be grand speech, but I was like, right, how am I gonna view this? I was like, right, new chapter. I was like, she's moving away. I almost feel like I have the chapter visualized in my head, and I feel like this chapter will go from, like, because she's working a year over there, so I think this chapter will be from now maybe until she's finished next year. So it'll be a year-long chapter, say, and in this year-long chapter, I'm gonna obviously put my head down in training to lead up to me next fight. Win me next fight, go over, see her in Dubai, live with her for a little bit over there, come back, have another fight. So in this chapter, it's going to be me going to and from, working on myself, working on my relationship, you know, coming back, doing a bit of work over in Dubai, you know, experiencing new things, meeting new people, training with new bodies, and just like have a little bit of a side story as well as me actual training story and my career story. So I'm excited about the next year now, although I'm also a little bit, you know, drawn back to being on my own. I'm a little bit excited because it's a good experience for her. It's a good experience for us to be tested in a relationship, you know, to be someone. She literally lived a minute away from me in Finglas, so, you know, to not have that anymore, to not be so close to someone, it'll be a nice test of our relationship and our love for each other. We're being in a long distance relationship, so I'm excited to see how that plays out in that sense. So I feel it'll draw us closer together more than anything. And I feel like, you know, when all is said and done and the year is up, we'll be stronger than we were before we went over. So that's why I decided to write this as a new chapter, and to, you know, give myself a new bit of a lease of life towards what's coming ahead, as opposed to dreading what's coming ahead. You know what I mean? But the new chapter thing is a real... It's a good coping mechanism for me. That's why I see it as a coping mechanism. Do you know what I mean? As well as a incentive to make the new chapter worth reading. Do you know what I mean? Make the new chapter worth going over. You know what I mean? Make this chapter something that is as exciting, that if I was to write a book and I was to put this into words, my year would go. Make it a type of chapter that someone would be bet into. You know what I mean? That's me mentality with chapters theory. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like it.
That's class. And the best thing about it is you can start a new chapter any moment. Like you said, like a few days ago I decided to write a new chapter, and most people either like wait till this 1st of January of the next year and like right now it's a new chapter, or I'll start on Monday, that'll be the new chapter. Like you can just decide right now it's a new chapter, move on, next thing that I'm coming. And the fact that you're like, I want to write it in advance and make it something that is actually worthwhile, and I'm going to be better, we're going to be stronger as a result of it. Because like, regardless what way you choose to look at it, you're going to have to go through it. Like, it's happening one way or another. So you're either going to use it to help you grow and get stronger, or it's going to be a pain in the arse and you're going to piss and moan about it, and that's going to lead to whatever paths that leads to. So just being proactive with it and saying, right, new chapter, I'm stepping into it.
Yeah, I think life changes so fast, like most of the time, that it's like you have to be able to adapt in the moment. And I think that's something that working in Aldi helped me with, because it was such mad fucking scenarios all the time. Like you don't know what, especially during COVID. Like, oh, what's happening now? I feel like that gave me that skill to be able to adjust. But I feel like sometimes, even though I'm good at that, I feel like sometimes like I do have them like that week of being really into myself. You know, really isolating from my friends, my family, barely speaking to my family, my friends, and just being completely into myself. But I feel like that's really, I feel like that's normal for me now. And I feel like, whereas before, like that, outsiders looking in probably look at me, God, there's something not right with him. But I feel like that's just a process that I go through every time that I come out the other side. So I'll go into myself for a few weeks or whatever it is, and I'll be like just a little bit moody or a little bit, you know, submissive to myself, and after that I'll come out of that and be like, I'll be just whip open the sword. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, nah, I'm brand new now. I just needed to have a little bit of a long time with me thoughts. You know what I mean? And put some things into perspective, and give myself. I'm not saying it's not always an ultimatum, but give myself some choices to make and some directions to go in. And I feel like that's where I become the best version of me, is when I am going into myself for a little while, and I do go into a little bit of a dark place to come back out and have that vision. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Speaking of dark places, and I know a lot of fighters have spoke about it before, in terms of when you're in between fights, or when you've just finished a fight and you don't have the routine anymore, you don't have the vision of what you're aiming to work towards. Do you struggle with that kind of post-fight, what do I do with myself now? What do I do with all this free time?
Sometimes, like, I try my best to get back. After my last one there, got back into training straight away. Now, obviously wasn't training as intense, but like still got back into training straight away, to let myself know that this is still the job. Like, my job is to train every day. You can just take it down a bit, but like that, I was on holidays there a week ago for 10 days. Have a few things coming now. I'm going to a wedding now next weekend. My missus' birthday's next week, so I'm going to Donegal with her for a few days.
Nice.
And then we come back and go straight to the wedding. So I'm gonna be in like a little bit of a like downtime plus uptime kind of type thing. But I feel like over the last 2 weeks now, because I haven't been training and stuff like that, I have been, not saying I'm going to a dark place, but I'm just not myself. Do you know what I mean? But I'm aware of this. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's because I haven't really been in my routine. I've not been waking up at me same time every day. I've not been waking up and eating the same foods as I always eat. So obviously, when there's such you know, changes to your your habits and your environments and your routine, your brain comes out of sync. You know what I mean? So that's particularly normal. But over the last few weeks now, I'd say I'd be in that little dark place. It's not a dark place where I'm like, I want to fucking kill myself, or I'm sick of my life, or blah. But it's just like, like I'm in it, like something isn't right. I'm not in full swing. I'm not in full sync. But like that, it's just a temporary feeling. Like I think everyone will go through a rut at some point, in regardless to whatever they're in. It is just because we train so much and you get such good positive endorphins from training, to not have them so much. And then when you're trying to get back, now yourself, when you don't train for a while, you're trying to get back into the swing things, like, fuck this. But I've just been flat out lifting weights and doing cardio and striking and stuff like that, just to keep the demons away as long as I can keep them away until I'm fully immersed. But like I said, now I'm probably still going to be in this little bit of a rut for the next week or so, until the end of next week. And like the start of August is where I know that I'm tipping the scales and I'm going full into fight mode. Do you know what I mean? My missus is going away, I think, the 15th of August. So from the start of August to the 15th, I'm seeing that as right. I'm getting used to being on my own now. From now to then, I'm getting used to being on my own now, and I'm starting to like get me days and built up in a certain way to. I'm basically getting my routine in place for being on my own now. So when she goes away August 15th, I'm not trying to do it then. So that I'm like catching up then. So by the time she goes, I'm already in full swing of being by myself, and that I'm just immersed in the fight camp. And that's when I'll be in me better place. I'll be struggling for a few days, probably crying to me pillow when she's gone, and there'll be a little bit of sympathy for myself. But I'm in the process now of, you know, rearranging, reorganising, and you know, building my life, building my structure to suit myself being away, and albeit for her being away and being a bit isolated. But yeah, that's more or less the gist. I feel like I'm at a point now where in my life I'm able to adapt to things really well, and I'm in control of my emotions to not be completely impulsive and to not make bad decisions. And I feel like once I'm in this state of mind, I'm prone to make the best decisions I can be making. Do you know what I mean? And once I'm making the good decisions for myself, I subconsciously, you know, end up in the position I want to be in. So I try not to think about it too much, do the right things, structure my life a certain way, and try to let it all play out how I want it to play out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. You mentioned the word delusions earlier and being a bit delusional, and I heard you mention before that in your sport especially, you kind of have to be a bit delusional to achieve what's possible and, you know, what you want to do within it. I'm curious for you, what is that delusional goal you have for your career? Like when it's all said and done, what do you want to look back on?
Well, be a world champion. You know, that's why anyone wants to get into this. Like, we're prize fighters, obviously money first. You know what I mean? I wanna get myself a mortgage. I want to be able to provide for myself and my family more than any world title. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because that, you know, having a good standard of living, having food on the table, having a house over my head, like electricity and bills paid for, that's more important to me than being any champion. Being a provider for my family is more important than being any champion. But then in hindsight, or reoccurring to that, it's like, if I become a champion, that will all work itself out. So obviously being a world champion is the big part to play, and having that stability and having that financial freedom and independence and security. So the best thing we can do is keep winning our fights, keep dreaming towards that world title. The delusion comes into play in the sense of me knowing that anything is, it's not even delusion, because anyone can do anything with their lives. Do you know what I mean? It just depends on how disciplined you are. It depends on how, you know, how bad you want it, how when you're going to get up on the days you don't want to do it and do it. I feel like once you keep that type of mindset, once you keep your priorities in check and just keep that delusional dream or goal in the back of your head until it becomes less of a delusion and more like a fucking a near reality, you know what I mean?
Inevitable outcome.
You know what I mean? That's from my inevitable outcome is the term I actually always use myself. Is like that. I want to make something that seems so out of reach so close to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I keep working compound interest, if I keep working away and working away, working away, that fucking delusional dream will literally be within hand's reach, you know what I mean? Or arm's reach. So that's what I'm trying to work for. I feel like I know the secrets to success. The secrets are easy. Just keep, you know, training, rocking up, doing what you need to do every day. Doing, like as Mike Tyson said, do something like you hate to do. Do something you hate doing like you love it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doing that so much will just only bring success, no matter what field of life you're in, not even just fighting, even in you as a lad's world here. If you just keep doing this constantly, not giving up on it, you will get to where you want to be, you know what I mean? It's just the foundations of success. It's just keep working, building. It's the same as me. Yeah, you have obviously a certain goal in your head. You just like to get here, like to get there. But to get there, you have to just keep the groundwork on, working, building. So the delusion gives you the almost spark.
Yeah.
And then it's the discipline that makes that spark come to light, you know what I mean? So without the discipline, there's no fire getting thrown on that petrol, like on that. There's no petrol getting thrown on that fire to enhance them flames. So my thing is be delusional, set your dreams big, but just be as disciplined as you can be to make them dreams seem less delusional. Time by time, things will work out. Chances will come, chances will go, but the mindset has to be the same. As the end goal is the end goal. So my delusion at the minute is to be a world champion. So I think I'm gonna work towards becoming a world champion in Bellator, and then maybe trying to become the $1 million champ then in PFL.
Sick,
I feel like I want the Bellator title. Like I didn't want to be doing one or the other, in the sense of like jumping back and forth. So in my plan for my legacy or whatever it was, I always like wanted to go ahead, try win that Bellator title, win that, go over to PFL and become a PFL champion. And then I class myself then as a double champ, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking to do now. That's my goal in the near future, or however long it takes me, is become the Bellator world champion and become the PFL world champion, and hopefully have a few quid in my bank account to buy a house, maybe buy another house, and buy myself maybe a decent dish car. We'll see. But for now, like I said, delusions. Bellator champion, then lead on to PFL champion, and then see where my career is at from there. You know what I mean? That's where my delusions are bringing me. So let's see if I can just keep the groundwork going to get there. You know what I mean?
Beautiful.
A lot of great wisdom in there. I have one more question. Normally my last question is basically the question I've just asked, something got to do with like legacy or big picture. But I have got a different one, because you're no stranger to doubts, uncertainty, to difficulties and hard times. For anyone who's listening, based off everything you've been through and everything you've learned, who might be in a position of struggle or wondering if there's anything out there for them in life that's better than what they currently have, what advice would you pass on?
I don't know. I think simplify things more. I think people get really out of tune with. I see it's hard to know, because there's so many different individual circumstances to why someone might be feeling that way or may not be feeling that way, and you know, I could be just giving the briefest bit of advice that might not even relate. They already might have that on board, what I'm saying, but something else that's bothering them. But the only thing I can say is, like, I feel like normally these are the secrets to success, or these are the kind of foundations to have, is to like look who's around you. So I'm just gonna say what works for me, and then it'll kind of maybe work around. So I look who's around me. I look who is a positive influence, gives positive feedback, doesn't drain me batteries from negative energies or behaviours. I surround myself with people like that. Normally, so for example, for me, is my teammates were all working towards the same goal. So that's an easy exhibit for that, you know what I mean? You can't choose a family, you know what I mean? We're all graced with our families. We can't choose them. So, you know, if people are finding it hard dealing with their families, take some pressure off yourself. For example, I would have put a lot of pressure on myself to help fix others other people's problems in your family, but to no want if they're around, they wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? And I made the decision to like, right, I'm gonna focus on myself, and if I'm focusing on myself and I'm doing the right things, maybe everything will lead into them seeing it, and it can reflect in a certain way. So don't fill from a glass that's half what's the saying? Don't pour from a glass that's half empty, is it?
Yeah, like fill
so
your own glass
don't
first.
yeah, like my thing is like, don't drain your batteries to recharge someone else's. So circle, family, think of something that you want to work towards. If it's a career goal, or just like if you want to learn how to do something, like play the piano. Do you know what I mean? Like, set the time down, set something that you feel like you want to do it, and then move on to the next one, and just keep moving on and on and on until you've either learned, educated yourself, or done something that is going to bring a new wave of information or skill in your life that you've never learned. I think once you're always trying to better yourself in that sense, you know, your confidence will grow, your ambition will grow, because you're knowing you're able to achieve these things, and then you'll just start off on a little bit of a path of you know, more success in my mind. But it's really hard. I hate not being able to answer it the way I want it, but it's such a broad thing that, like, if I can give someone advice, what will I say? And I'm just like, just don't be so hard on yourself is the main one. You know what I mean? I think we're all like, it's like a race to get your house first, or to have your kids first, or to be in the better job for everyone else, and to be set up. But you know, things work out how they're meant to work out, and I think like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves anyway in today's society. So take some pressure off yourself, relax the cacks, and just see what happens. You know what I mean? I think people who are struggling mentally, there's like this, they're trying to forget the quick fix. But by no means is anything a quick fix. You know what I mean? It's sometimes 2 years before you're in a better position. Do you know what I mean? So just understand, you know, the work has to be put in, and you have to really you have to back yourself more than anyone else will. So and that's what that comes back into me idea of like, don't charge someone else's batteries and drain your others. So focus on you, focus on yourself, and do the best things to get yourself in where you want to be, rather than trying to, you know, help someone else and take your time away from your path, your goals, or whatever like that. It's selfish, but I think we all need to be a little bit selfish. I think if you're selfish but still giving and caring, you won't be deemed as much of an arsehole as you might think. Do you know what I mean? So do you, and prioritise you is always my best bit of advice, I feel like.
Beautiful.
Carly, well, Nathan, man, thank you so much for sharing a few pages of this chapter with us and coming into the chat, man. Can't wait to see you back in the octagon again. And we always really appreciate people who are willing to come on and share their stories and like pull back the curtain and say, look, you might see me walking out in the 3Arena and all the music and singing Aslan, but behind the scenes, the work, the sacrifice, the dedication, the ups and downs that most people don't get to see, to be willing to come on and share those and kind of paint the real picture of what success looks like and what goes into it is massive. So thank you for that. Massive respect, and can't wait to see you back out there, man.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And loads is doing as well. Is doing good thing. I like the structure of everything you're doing, and the format of all your online stuff. So best of luck with yourselves.
Appreciate it.
As always, thanks for having me on and getting me waffling. Do you know what I mean? I haven't done an interview in a while, so I need to get me waffling boots on. So this is a good introductory into my new chapter. So this was the first interview of this chapter.
We'll
so you
have
got me and you have set the trend now to lead on for the rest of the year. So thanks for having me on, boys, and glad to be a part of your show. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.